Hey everyone, and welcome back. I'm Lisa, and this is Jamisa Stud, a regenerative series, a regenerative doco, part 2. So I've done, the recent video that I've done was in our, what we call the olive paddock. And I've actually moved over to take some soil samples of what we call the quarry paddock. Obviously a lot larger paddock, a lot more area to take samples of, yay for me. Foot falcon. This is the paddock that we've had the majority of our horses in. We've had eight mares up until recently. I've sold one and moved another one, so we now have 6 in this paddock. I did actually forget to look at the size, but I'll drop it in the comments. AgriWeb is actually working now, so that's good. And it's nothing to do with the actual app, it's my phone, it keeps freezing. So anyway, update time. This paddock I wanted to take a quick video of because I wanted to show you what I was talking about in the previous video where we're rolling out the round bales. Now this paddock, as you can see, it still has very minimal, but it is there, grass root systems, and that's basically all it is the tufts of the little bits of root system, or the tufts and then the root system back into the soil. Now hopefully I'll just have a quick check here. So here you can see this is the last round bale that we rolled out. They haven't quite finished it, but they are down in another paddock on another round bale at the moment, so I've moved them around. But as you can see from this site, it's very bare. We did have a point where we had a lot more stock in this paddock, up until about 7 months ago. So it's never really had time to recover. We've reduced the numbers obviously, and this is what we're doing with the round bales. So we're covering, and what you can see up here, I'm just going to keep checking so I can actually make sure that I'm putting what I need to in the video. Up here is what they've really left. So this is, you know, you can see the telltale of the poop all over the hay. So obviously there's a few darker patches, which also means that they've peed on it and they no longer want this. They might come back and pick out little bits and pieces of it, but normally that's done. Null and void to the horses. So here, this, checking again, this here is probably the second last round bale that we rolled out. We try and have either barley, which is very hard to get hold of, Rhodes grass, creeping blue with a little bit of lucerne, or just a grassy lucerne mix. As you can see, what they've left, you know, there's still a few bare patches, but we're looking at, where are we? Sorry, I just need to keep making sure that, we're looking at a good cover. So this here is what I've kicked over. This is what's now covering what was once bare. So obviously up here, we need to roll out another bale. And there, that's probably this bale remaining mulch up there is, I think it was the first one that we started rolling up here. So this is probably about 2 months ago worth. So we obviously need to roll out another bale here. We've got all the poop, and a lot of people panic and they're like, oh, you know, there's poop, we have to clean the paddock up, or the paddock's a mess. The poop is there to go back into the soil. It's to feed the underground livestock. Obviously we don't have too many of those at the moment because it's so dry. I mean, they're there hibernating, waiting, praying. They're probably praying like us for rain. Obviously we need to roll out more hay up here, but that's our process at this point. So all the poop that you can see here, obviously a little bit more dense in this area in front of us, that's actually going to get covered up. So at some point when there is a reasonable amount of old hay left up here that they're definitely not going to touch, I'm going to come up here, James will probably come up and help me, and we'll cover other bits. Now, as you can probably see behind me, I'll just Yeah, so all these lines that you can see, we actually ripped a line across the paddock. And I don't believe in tilling. I'm very anti-till, to be quite honest, but we did make the decision that we needed to rip a line across the soil in order to open it up a little bit and stop the excessive runoff when we did get some decent rain. And so what we did actually do along these rip lines, while we didn't add a carbon, because we didn't really know, I certainly didn't know at that point that we should be adding a carbon as you rip, so whether that's like a molasses or something like that, I didn't know about that. But what we did do is we planted, James and I came along and planted some creeping bluegrass seed in here. So we just scattered it in, lightly covered it up to the recommended depth. So we did plant that, excuse me. And the great thing that happened is that we got about 10 mil of rain. And so while 10 mil is, it's not great, here it is definitely something. Like you can see here with this hay that they're going to come back and they'll clean more of that up. But there is going to be a significant cover left from that last bale. Yeah, so we got the 10 mil of rain, which is great. We definitely need to follow up. We've had not much since. So that's basically this paddock, and we did several rip lines. As you can probably see down there, you can see where the soil juts up. So we did the rip lines across there, and for the most of them, I think we missed about 5 rip lines with the seed. So it's about trial and error, to be honest. And that was a trial, so we're looking forward to seeing if it pays off or whether it doesn't. But yeah, so this is the quarry paddock. I'm now going to do several samples sort of down the strip to get a bit of an overall look at the paddock in the soil sample and see what else we need to do, what we need to add. But we have started the process, like I said, with the hay, and that's going to be great with the poop, the hay, and then we're going to add calcium, I would say, at a rough guess, and all the other things in this paddock, and then hopefully a bit of a cover crop sort of down there a little bit as well. So yeah, that's exciting. There's a lot of cloud. They're telling us that we're supposed to expect 200 mil this week. I'm sure the coast will get most of it. Over here, this ridge that you can see, this bit of a range, we watch a lot of storms go around that way, and the same over here, a lot of them go around that way. So whilst the cloud does probably look good in the video, I'm not expecting miracles. It usually goes around. So yeah, this is the quarry paddock. This is just the little part 2 of the doco I'm putting together. Yeah, and you can see the difference between here and the olive paddock. I didn't really do a good show around, but you know, it's quite different, quite a different layout, if you will. Over the back here, we've got a lot of timber, and there's very little grass. It's like a spear grass, native grass. Nothing really wants to grow up there either. Anyway, thanks for watching. Part 2. I will keep videoing, keep soil testing, and I'll be hoping to hear from you or see you or chat with you soon.